My wife slept with other men while living off my money. She thought I'd never know, so I let her believe that until my move flipped her world. I've been with my wife, I'll call her Mel, for 6 years now, married for 3 of those. We met in college, dated for a while, got married. You know, the usual story. I always thought we were doing pretty good. Sure, we had some arguments about money and stuff, but I figured that was normal. Man, was I wrong. Last Friday night changed everything. Mel invited some of her friends over to our place. They do this thing where they get together every couple of weeks to catch up. Usually I just stay in my home office and work or play games, but this time I came down to grab some snacks from the kitchen. I could hear them all talking in the living room. Mel, her best friend Jen, and a couple of other girls from her work. They were talking about relationships, marriages, and whatever. I wasn't really paying attention until I heard my name. Jen was in the middle of some dumb hypothetical, her voice all casual, like this was just some fun little game to play. She said, "But seriously, Mel, what if someone better came along? What would you do then?" I wasn't even trying to eavesdrop at first, but my name caught my ear, and well, if they were talking about me, I had a right to listen. And then Mel, my wife, didn't even hesitate, didn't even pretend to think about it. She just went, honestly, just look at Tom, like I was some outdated phone model she was sick of but too lazy to replace. Then she laughed, like it was so obvious, and said, "He's fine, I guess, but if someone with more drive, better prospects came along, yeah, I'd probably upgrade." They all laughed, like it was the funniest thing ever. My own wife basically telling her friends I'm her starter husband or something. But she didn't stop there. Nope, she started listing all these things she wished were better about me. I was baffled. Who says this? I felt like I was some damn second-hand car she was waiting to sell the moment something shinier rolled into the lot. Apparently, I'm too safe and boring. I don't make enough money to give her the lifestyle she wants. Our house isn't as nice as her friend Sarah's new place. My car is embarrassing. It's a 2020 Honda Civic, a perfectly good car, by the way. I'm not ambitious enough because I've been at the same company for 4 years. I just stood there in the kitchen, listening to all this, like, you know when you're watching a movie and something really messed up happens, and you're just frozen? That's how I felt. My wife just casually telling her friends she'd trade me in for a better model. The worst part? None of her friends even disagreed. They were all like, "Yeah, I get that, and you deserve better," and stuff like that. One of them even said, "At least he's good with the house stuff," like I'm some kind of butler or something. I must have stood there for about 10 minutes while they picked apart everything about me. My job. I work as a mechanical engineer, steady job, decent pay, my clothes. Apparently I dress like a dad, even though we don't have kids, even the way I laugh. Too loud, since when is that a problem? The thing is, I've always supported Mel. When she wanted to quit her job to try starting her own business, I covered all the bills for 8 months until she decided she didn't like it anymore. When she wanted to go back to school for her master's degree, I paid for it. That car she drives that's so much nicer than mine? Yeah, I make the payments on that too. But listening to her talk to her friends, you'd think I was some lazy bum who just sits around playing video games all day. She even complained that I spend too much time working, the same work that pays for everything she wants. I ended up going back to my office without getting any snacks. I couldn't eat anyway. I just sat there staring at my computer screen trying to process everything. Like, how long has she felt this way? Has she been telling her friends this stuff all along? Is this what she really thinks of me? All these memories started popping up in my head. Times when she made little comments about other guys having better jobs or nicer things. How she always seems embarrassed. When we run into her work friends, the way she keeps tagging fancy houses and cars on Instagram and sending them to me with messages like someday or goals. I always thought she was just dreaming big or whatever. Now I'm thinking she's been trying to tell me I'm not good enough this whole time. And yeah, maybe I should have picked up on it sooner, but when you love someone, you don't want to see that kind of stuff, you know? Looking back, there were probably tons of signs I missed, but hearing her actually say it out loud to her friends, that hit different. It really makes you question everything. I started thinking about all the stuff I do for her, all the ways I try to make her happy, and what do I get back? Apparently, I'm just some placeholder until someone better comes along. I couldn't just pretend everything was normal. I tried for maybe an hour after her friends left, just sat in my office, thinking about everything, reading your comments, trying to figure out what to do. Around midnight, I finally worked up the nerve to talk to her. Her friends had all gone home, and she was in our bedroom, getting ready for bed, like nothing happened, like she hadn't just told everyone she'd trade me in for a better guy if she got the chance. I walked in and just straight up asked her, "Did you mean what you said to your friends about upgrading from me?" You guys should have seen how fast her face changed. First, she looked confused, then shocked, then she tried to laugh it off. Oh my God, Were you listening to us? It was just girl talk. Don't be so sensitive. Just girl talk. That's what she called it. Like somehow that makes it okay to tell your friends you're actively looking to replace your husband. I told her I heard everything, the comments about my job, my car, how I'm not ambitious enough, all of it. You know what she did? She tried to turn it around on me. Well, if you're going to spy on private conversations, you're going to hear things you don't like. That's what she said, like I'm the bad guy for hearing her trash talk me in our own house. Then she started with this whole thing about how I'm taking it too seriously, and you know how the girls get when we're together, and we were just joking around. But I kept thinking about how none of it sounded like jokes. You know when someone's joking, and when they're saying what they really think but trying to cover it up. So, I told her, even if you're joking, you should still respect me in front of your friends, because that's the bare minimum, right? You don't just casually humiliate your husband like it's some kind of game. But she just rolled her eyes, like I was the one making a big deal out of nothing, like I was the problem for expecting some damn basic decency. I asked her straight up, do you actually want to be with me, or am I just convenient until something better comes along? She got mad then, started crying, fake tears, looking back, and saying stuff like, I can't believe you'd question my love for you and you're being so insecure and maybe this is why I feel stuck sometimes. That last one really got me. Stuck? After everything I've done for her? I basically laid it all out, how I've supported her through everything, paid for her master's degree, covered all the bills when she wanted to try her business thing, bought her car, everything. You know what she said? Oh, so now you're keeping score? Real nice, Tom, real nice. This is exactly what I was talking about with the girls. You don't understand what I need emotionally. You just throw money at everything and think that's enough. I was like, what? You're the one who's always talking about wanting more money, a bigger house, a better car. I'm the one who's been trying to make you happy this whole time. But she wouldn't hear it. Kept going on about how I'm twisting her words and how she didn't mean it like that, and how I never understand her. We went back and forth for about an hour. Every time I tried to talk about what I heard, she'd either, 1, say I was taking it wrong, 2, try to make it my fault somehow, 3, start crying and say I was attacking her, or 4, change the subject completely. Finally, she says, fine, you want me to say I'm sorry? I'm sorry. Happy now? Can we go to bed? Like that fixes everything. Like she didn't just admit to everyone that she's basically waiting for a better offer to come along. I ended up sleeping in the guest room. She texted me at about 2 in the morning saying thanks for making me feel terrible and hope you're happy now that you've ruined our night. I didn't respond. What's even the point? She clearly doesn't get why I'm upset, or worse, she gets it but doesn't care. This morning was weird. She acted like nothing happened, made coffee, asked what I wanted for dinner later, normal stuff. But I noticed she kept checking her phone more than usual. Maybe I'm paranoid now, but it got me thinking, is she already looking for that upgrade she talked about? I tried to work from home today but couldn't focus, kept replaying everything in my head. I started looking back at old photos on my phone, found this one from our wedding day. We both looked so happy. Now I'm wondering if she was thinking about upgrading even back then. The more I think about it, the more stuff I remember, like how she always wants me to go to her work events, but then acts weird when I'm there. Or how she never posts photos of us together on her Instagram anymore, or how she's been working late more often lately. Maybe I'm reading too much into everything now, but after hearing what she really thinks of me, I don't know what to believe anymore. At that point, I didn't know what to do next. Part of me wanted to brush it off, but another part kept asking, what's there to fix? She straight up said she'd leave me for someone better. How do you come back from that? I just acted normal through the following day, but I noticed that her phone addiction got worse. Way worse. She's basically glued to it now, always typing away, but the second I walk near her, she flips it over or locks the screen. And she's got this new thing where she takes calls in another room, says it's work stuff. But since when does work need so many private conversations? And it's not just that. She's even stopped giving the bare minimum in our relationship. No more small check-ins. No more asking how my day was. No more little moments of affection. It's like she's physically here but mentally somewhere else, somewhere way more interesting than me. Hell, half the time I feel like I'm just background noise in my own house. So, the other day, I was paying our bills, as usual. And I noticed something that made me feel like an idiot. I've been handling all our major expenses, the mortgage, utilities, both our car payments, insurance, everything. Meanwhile, Mel's salary just goes into her personal account. She throws maybe a couple $100 toward groceries sometimes, but that's it. When I brought this up, she got super defensive, saying stuff like, we agreed this arrangement works best and you know I'm saving for our future. Yeah, right, our future. The one where she replaces me with someone better. She's been canceling our plans a lot, too. Last week, we were supposed to have dinner together on Wednesday, something we've done every week since we got married. She texted me at 4:30, saying she had to work late, But then I saw her coworker's Instagram story showing half the office leaving for happy hour at 3. When I asked her about it later, she said she forgot about the work thing and didn't want to make me feel bad. Money's become a weird issue too. She used to at least pretend to care about our budget. Now she's spending like crazy, new clothes, expensive makeup, salon visits every other week. When I mentioned maybe cutting back since I'm paying for everything, she started crying about how I'm financially controlling and holding her back. Holding her back from what, exactly? Spending all my money while she hoards hers? I tried talking to my best friend Mike about all this. He got quiet for a minute, then told me something I didn't know. Apparently, he and his wife saw Mel at this fancy restaurant downtown last week. She was dressed up way more than she ever does when we go out. Mike's wife wanted to go say hi, but before they could, some guy came and sat down at Mel's table. Mike said he figured I knew about it and didn't want to cause drama by mentioning it. That same night, Mel told me she was having dinner with her sister Kay. When I casually mentioned running into Mike downtown, she didn't even flinch, just said, "Oh, that's nice," and changed the subject. The lying is so easy for her now. I've started noticing other changes too. She's bought all these new outfits but never wears them at home, or when we go out together. Her gym schedule makes no sense. Supposedly going at 6 in the morning some days, but her car is still in the driveway when I leave at 7:30. Coming home smelling like perfume she doesn't own. Always has some story ready about where she's been, but the details never quite add up. The weird thing is, when her family visits, she acts like everything's perfect. Last Sunday, her parents came over for dinner. Suddenly, she's all lovey-dovey, sitting next to me, touching my arm when she talks, laughing at everything I say. The second they left, right back to barely acknowledging me. I feel like I'm going crazy sometimes. Like, am I just paranoid now because of what I heard her say to her friends, or have I been blind this whole time? The more I think about it, the more obvious it seems. She's been checking out of this marriage for a while. That conversation I overheard wasn't just random complaining, it was her telling her friends what she really thinks. The most messed up part? She still expects me to handle everything, pay all the bills, fix stuff around the house, deal with the car maintenance, everything a husband should do. But the second I expect anything from her, even just basic honesty about where she's been, I'm suffocating her. I kept thinking about something my dad told me when I was younger. He said, "Actions tell you everything you need to know about how someone feels about you." Well, Mel's actions are pretty clear now. I'm just a convenience to her, someone to pay the bills and keep the house running while she does whatever she wants. But everything changed one day when my laptop died completely, just wouldn't turn on at all. I had this super important work presentation the next day and all my files were on there. I was freaking out because I needed to finish some edits, and Mel has this nice work laptop she brings home. I asked if I could borrow it for an hour, tops, just to access my cloud drive and fix the presentation. She got super weird about it, said she needed to clean up work stuff first and that she'd set it up for me later, but she had yoga class. Yeah, right, and rushed out before doing anything. She left her laptop bag right there in the living room, though. Now, I've never gone through her stuff before, never wanted to, but I really needed to fix this presentation, and she'd logged into my laptop plenty of times before when she needed it, so I figured it wasn't a big deal to use hers. We're married, right? I opened up Chrome to access my cloud drive, and you know how it shows your most visited sites? There's Tinder, right there, not even hidden. Next to it, some dating site I've never heard of, and her email was open with a bunch of messages from guys. My hands were shaking so bad I almost dropped her laptop. There were all these conversations with different guys. She had profiles on multiple sites, but the worst part? In all of them, she listed herself as separated and looking to upgrade. She'd written this whole thing about how she was stuck in a stagnant marriage and ready to meet someone who matches her ambition, someone who could give her the lifestyle she deserves. The same stuff she'd said to her friends that night, but now she was advertising it to every guy in a 50-mile radius. I just sat there, reading message after message, guys telling her she deserves better, her complaining about me, setting up meetings at hotels. Some of these conversations went back months. I kept looking until I noticed something else. She had her Google Calendar open in another tab. All these yoga classes and girls' nights and work events, they lined up perfectly with her dating app meetups. But there was one conversation that got me throwing up. A guy telling her how good the night was. I knew I was done with everything related to her after seeing this. I started taking pictures of everything with my phone, not because I wanted to, but because I knew she'd deny it all if I didn't have proof. The whole time I'm doing this, my hands are shaking, and I feel sick to my stomach. Then I found the worst part. She had this folder in her Google Drive called New Life Planning. Inside were screenshots of houses she liked, cars she wanted, even some kind of budget spreadsheet, but it was all calculated with way more money than I make. She had all these notes about the kind of guy she was looking for, how much he should earn, what kind of car he should drive, where he should live. It was like reading a shopping list, but instead of groceries, she was shopping for my replacement. And get this, she had a whole section about how to maximize assets during a divorce. She'd been researching divorce lawyers and alimony laws, planning it all out while still living off my money. I managed to finish my work presentation somehow, but I honestly don't remember doing it. I put everything back exactly how I found it. When she came home from yoga, I just watched her lie about where she'd been. She even made up this whole story about this great class she'd just taken. Meanwhile, I knew she'd actually been meeting some guy named Brad at a coffee shop. The next few days were surreal. I had to act normal while knowing everything, watching her text these guys right in front of me, probably thinking she's so clever, listening to her make up excuses about where she's going. The whole time, I'm thinking about all those messages I saw, all those plans she's making, all those lies. Here's the really messed up thing. In some of her messages to these guys, she talks about how faithful she is, how she'd never cheat and is waiting until she finds the right guy before leaving her marriage, like somehow that makes it better. She's literally shopping for my replacement while living in my house and spending my money. But instead of confronting Mel right away, I decided to play the long game. I talked to a lawyer, found this guy I'll call Dave, who specializes in divorces. I showed him everything I discovered. He gave me some solid advice about protecting myself. Turns out, Mel's new life planning folder might actually help me. It shows she's been planning to leave for ages while letting me support her completely. Dave helped me make a detailed list of everything I needed to do. First up was money. I've been handling all our finances for years, so making changes wasn't too hard. I opened a new account at a different bank, started moving my paycheck there instead of our joint account, left just enough in the joint account for basic bills. When Mel noticed the joint account was lower than usual, I used her own excuses against her, told her work was getting weird about overtime lately, and we needed to budget better. She freaked out a bit, started saying stuff about needing money for her personal expenses. I just shrugged and said times are tough. Funny how she talks about wanting someone with more money but can't handle having less access to mine. I started documenting everything too, every time she lies about where she's going, every weird expense, every late-night work event. I've got this whole spreadsheet now. Dave says it'll help show a pattern when we go to court. I even started keeping track of when her car is gone versus when she claims to be places. The numbers don't add up at all. The really interesting part has been slowly backing away from all the stuff I used to do for her. She had this whole routine of me taking care of everything while she did whatever she wanted. So, I started forgetting things like when her car needed an oil change. Usually, I'm right on top of that stuff. This time, I just didn't mention it. She had to figure it out herself. Or this thing with her parents' anniversary dinner. Every year, I'm the one who makes reservations, buys gifts, handles everything. This year? Nope. When she asked about it, I just said, "Oh, I thought you were handling that this time." She had to scramble to put something together last minute. Her parents definitely noticed the difference. I also started going to the gym, not because of her, but because I needed somewhere to put all this angry energy. Found this 24-hour place near my office, go there instead of coming straight home after work. Mel actually complained about it, said I'm not spending enough time with her. Pretty rich coming from someone who's actively trying to replace me. The money thing really started showing results last week. She wanted to buy some expensive dress for a work event. Usually she just gets it, and I deal with the credit card bill. This time, the card declined. She called me, all upset, and I just said, "Yeah, we need to watch our spending right now." You should have heard how fast her voice changed. She started talking about how maybe I should look for better opportunities or ask for a raise. I've been saving everything I can now, canceled all these random subscriptions she had that I was paying for, switched our cable package to something cheaper, started buying generic brands instead of the fancy stuff she likes. Every time she complains, I just remind her about budgeting and being responsible. The best part? She's starting to realize that her perfect life was only perfect because I was making it that way. All these little things I handled, the house maintenance, the car stuff, the bills, the planning, she's having to deal with them herself now, and she's terrible at it. One time the garage door broke. Usually I'd drop everything and fix it. This time I just said we should probably call someone, and went back to watching TV. She waited 2 days thinking I'd handle it, then finally had to call a repair service herself. Cost her $200 from her own money. Suddenly, she's talking about how everything's getting so expensive. The really crazy thing is watching her try to keep up appearances. She's still on those dating apps. Yeah, I check sometimes through her laptop browser history. Still telling guys she's looking for someone more ambitious. But now she's also dealing with a car that needs maintenance, a garage door that keeps acting up, and a credit card that actually has limits. All these things I'm forgetting to do, they're building a paper trail of exactly what I brought to this marriage. And watching her slowly realize that her better life might not be so easy to find, Well, maybe I'm enjoying that a little bit. Then Mel decided to shoot her shot and fix things. She came up to me while I was just sitting on the couch checking my phone. Probably while she was messaging guys on her dating apps, to be honest. She starts talking about this weekend trip she's planning with her friends. Yeah, the same ones from that night I overheard everything. The ones who agreed I wasn't good enough. She's all excited, telling me how they're renting this super fancy lake house for a couple's weekend. Jen and Mark, Sarah and Pete, Lisa and Rob, all of them will be there. And she's like, Tom, we should really go. It'll be so good for us. Acting all sweet, touching my arm, using that voice she does when she wants something. I almost couldn't believe it. Like, is she serious? This whole time she's been on dating apps, calling herself separated and planning her upgrade, and now she wants to play happy couples with her friends. The same friends who sat there laughing about replacing me? But then I thought about it for a second, and guys, I said yes. Told her it sounded perfect. You should have seen her face light up. She probably thought she had me wrapped around her finger again, that I was just her stupid husband who would keep paying for everything while she looked for my replacement. The funny part? The whole next week she started acting like a wife again, making actual effort, you know? Suddenly she's interested in my day, making dinner first time in months, trying to cuddle on the couch like nothing's wrong. She even posted about me on Instagram. First time since January, some cute caption about being excited for our romantic weekend. All her friends commented with heart emojis and couple goals and stuff. The same friends who know she's trying to replace me, the same ones who encouraged it. I've been talking to my lawyer. He's my friend, I'll call him Dave, this whole time. Yeah, I got a lawyer, more on that later. When I told him about the trip, he actually thought it was perfect timing. We spent about 3 hours in his office, getting everything organized, all the screenshots from her laptop, the dating profiles, her new life planning folder. Still can't believe she actually named it that. The bank statements showing how I pay for literally everything while she saves her money, all of it. Got the divorce papers ready too. They're sitting in my briefcase right now. Mel keeps asking why I'm bringing work stuff on our romantic weekend. LOL, if she only knew. The weirdest part is watching her try so hard, like she's auditioning for the role of perfect wife or something. Kept talking about how excited she is to spend time with me, making all these plans for the weekend. Meanwhile, her dating apps are probably blowing up her phone. I know because I still check her browser history sometimes. Yeah, maybe that's wrong, but honestly, who cares at this point? Dave said I need to stay calm and stick to the plan. Easy for him to say. He's not the one watching his wife pretend everything's fine while knowing she's been planning to leave for months. But I'm managing. Even helped her pack the car earlier. She was all, "You've been so sweet lately." Yeah, just wait. The drive up to the lake house was weird. Mel was acting like we were on our honeymoon or something. Kept trying to hold my hand while I drove, taking selfies for her Instagram, talking about all the couple's activities she planned. I just nodded and went along with it. The place was exactly what you'd expect. One of those massive modern houses with floor-to-ceiling windows everywhere probably costs more than I make in 2 months just for a weekend. Mel's eyes got all wide when we pulled up. She loves this kind of stuff, always sending me links to houses like this, saying goals. Meanwhile, I'm the one paying all our actual bills. Everyone else showed up around the same time. Jen and Mark got there first. Of course they did. Jen's probably been coaching Mel this whole time. Then Sarah and Pete. And finally Lisa and Rob, all standing around this huge kitchen island, talking about their jobs and vacation plans and whatever. Mel was in full show-off mode, kept touching my arm, laughing super loud at everything I said, telling everyone how amazing things have been lately. I caught Jen giving her these little nods, like good job or something. Made me feel sick watching it. We did dinner at this massive dining table, you know, the kind that's basically just for show because who has 12 people over for dinner regularly? Everyone's talking about their amazing lives and careers and stuff. After dinner, they all wanted to hang out on the deck. It was about 75 degrees out, perfect weather. The girls were taking pictures, probably for their backup Instagram accounts. Yeah, Mel, I know about those too. The guys were doing that thing where they pretend to care about each other's jobs. I waited until everyone was settled in, told them I had something special planned, something for all of us to watch. Mel looked so excited. Probably thought I was going to play some sappy video about our relationship or something. Instead, I connected my laptop to the TV they had out there. First thing that popped up, Mel's Tinder profile, the one where she calls herself separated. Then her nude photos she sent to guys. Then her whole new life planning folder. You guys should have seen her face. She tried to grab my laptop, but I moved away. I just started reading some of her messages out loud. The ones where she talks about being stuck with me, where she tells guys she's looking for someone more ambitious, where she plans meetups and uses her friends as alibis. The best part? Her friends' faces. Sarah literally got up and walked away. Jen, the one who started all this with her what if someone better came along question. She just kept saying, "Oh my God," over and over. The guys all looked super uncomfortable. Pretty sure Mark was mentally checking his own wife's phone in his head. Mel tried everything. First, she screamed at me for going through her laptop. Funny how she forgot about privacy when she wanted to use my credit cards. Then she tried to say it wasn't what it looked like. It was exactly what it looked like. Then she started crying and saying I was trying to humiliate her. Nah, she did that to herself. I pulled out the divorce papers and put them on the table, told her, "Remember when you let me borrow your laptop because mine broke? Thanks for that, by the way. Really opened my eyes." She kept trying to get her friends to back her up, but nobody would. Even Jen, who's usually ready to defend Mel no matter what, just sat there looking at her feet. Guess it's different when there's actual proof right in front of them. I grabbed my bag and told everyone I already paid my share of the rental so they could stay and enjoy their weekend. Mel was full-on crying by then, trying to follow me to the car, saying she could explain everything. The last thing I heard before I got in my car was Sarah saying, "I can't believe you did this to him." Coming from Sarah, that's pretty rich, considering she was one of the ones laughing about me that night. After I left, my phone was blowing up with messages, not just from Mel but from her friends too. Lots of "I'm so sorry, I had no idea" type stuff.
Yeah, right, you had every idea, you encouraged it.
After her family found out, man, that was rough. They called me the day after everything happened. Turns out Mel had been telling them I was the one checking out of the marriage, that I was distant and uninterested and all that. Her mom was crying on the phone, asking what went wrong. I went over to their house and showed them everything, all the screenshots, the dating profiles, her new life planning folder, everything. Her dad just sat there getting quieter and quieter. This guy who used to treat me like his own son, who always bragged about how lucky Mel was to find such a responsible guy. He couldn't even look at the screenshots after a while. When Mel tried to explain everything to them later, it went badly, really badly. Her dad basically said he didn't raise her to be this kind of person. Her mom just cried. They're still talking to her. They're her parents after all. But it's different now. Her dad hasn't spoken to me since that day, but he did send a text saying he was sorry and that I deserved better. That hurt more than I expected. Her friends? They all scattered like cockroaches when the lights come on. Jen tried to message me saying she never meant for any of this to happen, and how she was just trying to be supportive of her friend. Yeah, super supportive, laughing about replacing your friend's husband. Mark, Jen's husband, actually called me to apologize, said he had no idea what the girls talked about when they got together. Sure, buddy, Sarah and Lisa both unfriended Mel on everything. Guess they're worried their husbands might start wondering what they say during their girls' nights too. The really crazy part? Mel's sister Kay was furious with her, not just because Mel used her as an alibi for meeting guys, but because Kay actually stood up for Mel to their parents at first, told them there must be some explanation. Then she saw all the evidence and realized how many times Mel had lied to her face. They're not speaking now. As for Mel, she's staying with her cousin Emma in the city, the only family member who will still put up with her, I guess. She's been trying to message me constantly. First, it was angry stuff about how I humiliated her. Yeah, because I'm the one who made dating profiles while married. Then it was crying about how sorry she is and how she'll change. Now it's switched to trying to negotiate, like somehow she thinks she deserves half of everything, even though I have proof she was planning to leave. Dave, my lawyer, says the divorce should be simple. All those screenshots of her planning to leave while living off my money? Super helpful legally. She tried saying she deserved alimony because she got used to a certain lifestyle, but that fell apart when Dave showed her own messages about looking for a richer guy. Kind of hard to claim you need support when you're literally bragging to guys about your own secret savings. The house feels weird now. Mel came with her cousin to get some of her stuff last week. She kept trying to talk about how we could work this out while packing up her clothes, wanted to know if she could take some furniture her parents gave us for our wedding. I told her to talk to Dave about it. She didn't like that. I'm doing okay, I think. It's crazy how different everything is now. 2 months ago, I was standing in my kitchen, listening to my wife tell her friends she wanted to upgrade from me. Now she's living in her cousin's spare room, trying to figure out how to afford her own place. Turns out, the better life she wanted isn't so easy when you actually have to pay for it yourself. The dating apps are still active. Her cousin's friend saw her profiles. Now she lists herself as recently separated and independent woman. Had to laugh at that last part. Real independent now that she actually has to pay her own bills. But a funny thing happened at the gym last week. There's this girl who works there. She's been helping me figure out proper form for exercises and stuff. We got talking after my workout one day, ended up getting coffee. Turns out she went through something similar with her ex last year. Not the exact same situation, but she gets it, you know? We've been texting a bit, nothing serious, just talking. She's cool, Actually works for what she wants instead of expecting everything handed to her. Didn't think I'd be interested in dating so soon, but it's nice just talking to someone normal who doesn't play games. Made me realize something too. While Mel was out there looking for an upgrade, I was the one who actually ended up with something better, someone who's honest about who they are. I actually have plans tonight. The gym girl is teaching me how to make sushi. Thanks for all the support, guys. Never thought I'd be posting about my marriage falling apart on Reddit, but sometimes the worst things lead to better places, I guess. Oh yeah, I canceled the Netflix account yesterday. The one Mel's probably still using at her cousin's place. Funny how I don't even care about that stuff anymore. Got better things to focus on now.